Hey, hi, hello ladies, how's it going? Hope you're doing good, hope you're doing well. I'm doing horrible to be honest, thanks for asking. And that's because I just got done listening to one of the worst records I've ever listened to in the history of this channel, and maybe in the history of my entire life. And you're gonna see it right here. You see it behind my shoulder. It is my TX2 review. I can't believe I'm camming up to talk about this guy again, but TX2 finally put out his solo record, and I'm going to be diving into it today. But before I do, my name is Dan Frampton, all one word, the O's a zero. I am the internet's most ruthless gatekeeper, so you know what you're about to get into. We're going to tear this thing to shreds from left to right, from coast to coast, and that's all I know how to do. So you're going to give me a like and a subscribe, and maybe throw a couple hype points my way, and we're just going to dive right into it. I haven't talked about this guy on the channel in a very long time, but his name is Timothy Evan Thomas, or he goes by TX2. Do you get it? Timothy Thomas. That's two T's. T times two. Very clever name. But this guy apparently just goes by Evan Thomas now, and TX2 is the name of his band. Very clever. Coming out of Fort Collins, Colorado. You think you're going to get some emo stuff with this guy, but it's not really emo that happens when this guy opens his mouth. I'm sure that he thinks it's emo, but it really isn't. He hit my radar way back in 2023 for his song I Would Hate Me Too. Do you guys remember this thing? It was actually Anthony Fantano's video that he made about this guy that put him on my radar, and I've been very angry at Anthony Fantano ever since. But to be honest, this guy would have found his way to my radar eventually. This is the song over here with the famous line, "I'm a 5'4" man whore who slit his wrist." And believe me, very few people enjoyed this music. He may have found a tiny little community of people that don't really know what they're talking about that found their way into his fan group or whatever, but anyone with any real taste really made fun of this guy for being cringe. This guy got so much hate for being cringe. And then he came onto the internet and was like, guys, I'm actually cringe on purpose. I'm doing all of this because it creates attention. I'm doing all of this because it creates dialogue down there in the comment section. I was like, no, that really didn't seem like a well-crafted thing that you were doing. You were really trying to cook. You're really trying to be an emo rock star out here, and you're failing miserably. But he's like, no guys, please believe me. I'm just gonna lean so hard into this cringe, and I'm gonna be so cringe. And then 2 years of this whole nonsense, lying to himself, coming onto the internet, being cringe and telling everybody that he's doing it on purpose, he actually ends up as an emo rage bait troll loser. This guy's not doing anything authentic. He only exists to rage bait you. He only exists to make you say how bad that he is. So am I playing into his hand? Maybe a little bit over here, but this record came out, I don't know, over a month and a half ago. And if I did it right away, then maybe I'd be playing into his hand. But all of this sort of stuff just needs to be pointed out. If I can't call the rage bait troll loser a rage bait troll loser, then what has this world even come to anyway? And it was back in 2023 where he started actually hanging out with Johnny Gilbert and Carolyn Carr and all these other people that really seemed like they were trying to be the adult new version of My Digital Escape. It was very strange, and all this sort of stuff was gonna happen, and it basically fizzled out before it could really turn into anything whatsoever, because really, Johnny was the only famous one. He was the anchor of everything, and everything else just fell off around him. Johnny lived with his roommate, and him and his roommate would continue on being very famous after this, but nobody else in this photograph is famous anymore, except for TX2. I will say, TX2 is still getting people to talk about him, but maybe not so much for any of the right reasons. And I know what you guys are thinking. You were like, I love album reviews, but they don't look enough like conspiracy theory charts for me. So that's why I swooped in, and I'm here to fix all that, because back in 2024, 2025 era, or whatever, TX2 kept persisting. He was like the cockroach of the alternative scene. And yeah, he got to play the Warped Tour, which actually legitimized this guy to the masses, okay? There's nothing I can say that can take that away from him. There's nothing that anybody can criticize him for. This guy got on the bill, like it or not. And believe me, most people don't like it, except for a couple other bands that want to associate with him for some reason, like Ice Nine Kills, who he's toured with and done a song with, and the most recent one, Black Veil Brides. We're going to be getting into all of that in just a quick second. But that is basically the context of where this guy comes from. But we're here to talk about the new record, because he's been out here for over 2 years now, just putting out trash after trash, just singles, TikToks, little EPs, I guess, but never ever has he put out a full length. And here it is, End of Us, came out February 13th, 2026 on Hopeless Records. Hopeless, how could you do that to us? What are you doing? How have you signed TX2? You're complicit in this now. Unbelievable. Absolutely atrocious. And I'm not the only one who thinks it's atrocious. Over here, this record is getting review bombed on Album of the Year with a 21% review score. And just look at the rating distribution up here. Very, very few 100s, maybe one 100 actually, and everybody else is giving this 0 to 9. That's out of 100. Album of the Year does things out of 100, and most people are rating this thing between 0 and 9. And I did the courtesy of chopping off a couple of these reviews over here. We're not going to go through all of them, but you're just going to want the main sentiment about what most people are feeling about this record. Please delete. For a first album in 7 years, it's not terrible, and it's an improvement from the previous ones, but the songs offered here are mostly just really bland or even boring. More on that in a little bit. And this is the highest score I'm going to show you, coming in at a 48. The next one rated a 5, Refurbished Music. The next one gave it a 0, saying, get away from the alternative metal genre before you ruin it. Someone else came in here and giving it a pretty generous 41, saying, I mean, at least it's better than everything else he's made, which I don't know if I'd agree with that. It's very, very bad. The next person gave it a 0. No. The next person a 0. The next person a 0. Holy shit, I lied. Someone here gave it a 70. I'm going to try to read it. It doesn't make any sense. And if you can understand it, please let me know. It says the following. If you go into this with an open mind, a project with love and work put into, it shows. That's not really a sentence. The next person gave it a 0. We got a 28. We got a 25, a 27. We got a 0. The sentiment is very, very poor for this record. And let me tell you, if you go into this with an open mind, you're going to come out hating it, because I tried to go into it with an open mind. I didn't want to be the hater because, like I said earlier, I didn't want to play into his hand of being an emo rage bait troll loser, you know? And I definitely didn't want to be a contrarian being like, hey guys, it's actually pretty good. So I wanted to go into this honestly, earnestly. I wanted to be able to say nice things about this thing. I wanted to find some redeemable qualities so I could fire up this camera, hit the internet, and tell you guys, TX2 has some artistic merit. But unfortunately, that just will not be the case today. Spoiler alert about all that. Because if you go over here to my review, and don't you just love the aesthetic of this? This is beautiful. No one else on YouTube is doing this. This is great. But this review over here is scathing. Let's just take a look at the track list for a little bit, okay? It starts off with a song called Feed by TX2 and Death by Romy. I feel so bad for the people featuring on this record, people. And this really isn't emo. This is just toothless, safe radio rock. This guy's throwing in a little bit of synth, a whole bunch of like effects and stuff like that to try to get on rock radio. This is not emo. This is not heavy. This is nothing that anybody was saying about it being alternative or anything like that. This is toothless, safe radio rock. Absolutely pathetic. But then the next song, he tries to get a little edgy with the song Nice Guy. Now, I had to clip the lyrics for this thing. You need to know the poetry that is coming out of this guy's mouth, okay? So, for a moment, let's just do a poetic reading of Nice Guy by TX2. I'm not a man whore. It's just a habit. You'd probably do the same, but you're not a bad bitch. I don't do hookups. I only want love. I'll never break trust. Haha, alright, that's pushing it. I'll be honest. Who looks at me and thinks I'm stable? I'm as tall as I'm faithful. I flip freaks in rotation like a spatula. Too many hoes in my castle. Call me Dracula? Jesus Christ, not only is that a bad rhyme, that doesn't even make sense. God damn it. God damn, gonna need some sage, 'cause I'm Santana with my evil ways? Oh man, go to hell. These are awful lyrics. Jesus Christ. I'm in a band. We're literally the worst to date. If you thought all that was bad, this is where it gets terrible. Show this to any English teacher, first grade, second grade, third grade. They're gonna tell you to go back to the pencil and rewrite this thing. I'll ruin your life, just give it time, but I don't wanna, but I'll make you cry out of your eyes. You'll wish you died. I'll make you cry out of your eyes. You wish you died? What are these lyrics? Christ almighty. And a whole bunch of people listen to this. Hopeless Records over here, apparently. They're like, cut, print, let's press this into wax and get it onto a bunch of shelves immediately. I'll make you cry out of your eyes, you'll wish you died, people. Not a single artistic bone is in this man's body. The next song is an interlude, skip. The next song is called Hostage, and it's just more boring, uninspired schlock rock. If you like that kind of thing, you're not gonna like this, okay? This isn't a matter of taste. This is bad music performed by a talentless hack. Literally, end of story. I'm gonna continue the story though here real quick, because the next song is called The Resistance, and how the fuck are you gonna have a song called The Resistance during times of actual resistance out there on the streets of America? There was just the biggest day in protest on the streets of America for No Kings 3, and you're gonna have a song called The Resistance in the middle of your schlock rock record? This is the kind of disrespect coming from this guy that disrespects the people, that disrespects the scene, that disrespects art, that disrespects the community, that's disrespecting me as I listen to it. Jesus Christ. Fuck this guy. Then the next song is called 6 Shots Left, and it's just a fake Western-ass Paint It Black bootleg. The melody starts like he's about to sing Paint It Black, but then he trails off into something else, so he's like, I'm not actually singing Paint It Black. It's terrible. He follows that up with a failed anthemic arena rock rager, absolutely falls flat on its face, embarrassing in its execution, not gonna lie. And the song after that could have really used some talent and musicality. That would have really helped this thing a whole lot. By the time I'm listening to Lost Souls, I'm feeling like reminding this guy he's not Gerard Way. Not even by a long shot. His music doesn't even sound like emo, even a little bit. It's like TX2 was doing a cosplay of something that he only ever heard described to him. Then you just get more spineless, toothless, misguided, formulaic, predictable rock and roll throughout the rest of this. And then all the features are clustered here at the very end. Didn't want to intersperse them throughout the track listing or whatever, but you got Magnolia Park, Ice Nine Kills, and Black Veil Brides. The top tier talent of all top tier talent coming in to polish off this record. And before I give you my final rating of this thing, I'm gonna tell you about my comic book that is coming out tomorrow, April 1st, time of recording. By the time you're watching this video, it probably exists. You could probably go read my very first comic right now. The Scrupulous MOSH-MAN is a superhero of my creation, and I think that you're going to enjoy this story. The physical copy, which I hold in my hand right here, just so you know it actually exists, sold out immediately. The first day that I printed this thing, boom, gone, off the shelves. So if you wanted to read it and you didn't get your chance on day number 1, this thing comes out tomorrow, or probably it's out now if you're watching this video past April 1st. MOSH-MAN.BigCartel.com. The very last song on this record is the title track called End of Us. And to me, it just sounds like a Tenacious D parody. Like, you know when Tenacious D slow things down to tell you about the virtues and values of rock and roll? It sounds like that. I'm expecting Jack Black to swoop in any moment over here. But unfortunately, I am reminded that this is definitely not Tenacious D, and it's not going to become good or funny anytime soon. Well, it is going to be funny, but in all the wrong reasons. So with all that being said, I'm going to give you my final rating right now. And just like everybody else, I'm falling in line with all of them. Not a single redeemable quality. How is that even possible? 0 out of 100. This might be one of the worst records I've ever had the misfortune of putting through these ear holes. Have you listened to this thing yet? It's been out for a long time, like a month and a half. I don't recommend that you do. You will not enjoy it. I guarantee you that. There's a lot of good music coming out too. So you know what? Tomorrow, I might talk about a good record that came out. Okay, thank you for watching this review. Really appreciate you. MOSH-MAN.BigCartel.com. Goodbye, see you later. Have a good one.